What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? This is your man Cam. Thank you for tuning in. I got my man, longtime friend of the show, Mr. Clint Lomax. How you doing?
Good man. Thanks for having me back.
No, I appreciate your time, man. We got a lot of stuff we need to catch up on, and we're gonna remind you that this show, man. When you say something on this show, it gets recorded in the annals of time. So we're gonna come back and hit you with some stuff that you may have forgot you said. So thank you for joining the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is show Clint 199 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, man. So
199, man.
you're making history of this iteration
Oh
of the
yeah.
Voice. You're making history, man. So I appreciate you for being a part of this week, man. We're going to get into some NBA offseason conversations. Obviously, they had the draft, the summer league, obviously the trades. We haven't got. Clinton is a self-proclaimed guru, historian of the NBA. No, I'm taking it back. He's
Semi
not
semi NBA historian.
the self-proclaimed NBA historian. So it's going to be cool to get his feedback on a lot of this hot NBA offseason, hot topics in the NBA. We got some NFL hot topics in the NFL. He claims to know something about the NFL, so we're going to
Yeah.
get his feedback on the NFL topics as well. Major League Baseball had their All Star game, and I want to get Clinton. I don't know how he feels about the Major League All Star. I don't know how he feels about Major League Baseball, so it's going to be interesting to get his feedback on Major League Baseball. And they just had their weekend, celebratory weekend, if you will. So we'll see what his thoughts are on that. And as always, we're going to do this week in history. Um, uh, give you guys a historic lesson on kind of life in America, if you will. But Clint, each and every day we start the show. Well, first, let me give a shout out to my guys at HMB Media TV. HMB Media TV. If you want some more hoop content, it's strictly 100% hoop over there. HMB Hoops and Brews. HMB Media TV. Shout out to those guys for doing their things and letting us be a part of their show. Each and every week we start our show, Clint, is July 20th, week 199, as I mentioned, with our numbers game. And we're going to do it the 20th and 99. So when you think of the number 20, Clint, who comes to your mind first or who ordered that number best?
What in any sport?
In any sport, that number 20, who wore
Oh
that number
dude,
best?
come on,
Comes to your
man.
mind first.
Come on, man. That's Gary Payton. Easy. That's
That's Gary.
easy. That's easy.
That's
Easily
easy.
the best 20 that I can remember. I mean,
Oh, so you don't remember
Barry
Barry
Sanders.
Sanders? That,
Yeah,
you
Barry
know,
said, yeah, I know you was gonna hit me with that. That Barry said, but
I'm old
I'm
enough to
from the
remember a
town,
kid.
man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm old enough to remember a guy named Billy Sims who wore that number pretty well too. So,
Oh, there you go, Billy Sims. Oh, you know Billy. You know what Billy was famous for, right? That
he
was
was
the
famous
cleats
for
to the face. That was
yeah,
the
yeah,
cleats to the
on,
face.
on the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, he
Oh
kicked the
yeah,
dude.
man. Oh yeah, man. That was classic. They still show that highlight.
So, and when you think of the number 99, who wore that number best, or
Ooh.
who first come to your mind when you think of the number 99?
When I think of '99, I know there was Mark Gastineau. That's how old I am, guys.
Oh
That's how
wow,
old
Mark
I
Gasol.
go.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
that's
okay.
way back. But my '99 was really Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp.
Warren
Okay,
Sapp.
that's cool. That's
That
cool.
was my
I
dude.
think I mean the number 99, that was a great one. You know the great one is.
Oh yeah, of
You,
course, yeah, Gretzky, right? I mean, I know, yeah, dude. I'm up here in Canada. I just said
yeah,
that. There's some people listening. There's some people listening. I think up there
they're like
too. They
what?
gonna talk about me when I get up there. No
All
better
right,
than that.
so let's jump right into this, man. Let's jump right in. First, Clint, I want to let the people know this is a long time friend of the show, Clint. Where can the people find you? Um, on social media. Do you got social media? Where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
I'm on. Get
you bound to
this.
say
Remember
something.
and remember this too. MJ Lover 23.
Ooh,
I'm on
MJ
Twitter
Lover,
with that.
MJ Lover
MJ
23.
Lover 23
So
on Twitter
anything he
and
posts,
on
you gonna
and
reply?
on Instagram.
Okay. Well, we got some MJ conversation a
Oh
little
wait,
later.
hold on, hold on, whoa, 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 whoa. I am on Voice of the Fans on Facebook too, so you can find me there too.
How about that? Um, Clint, what's your thoughts on this KD sweepstakes? Are you in a hurry to make a move if you're Brooklyn? Do you acknowledge his? How do you handle the sweepstakes? Do you trade him? What's the best offer? Are you looking for the best offer? You looking to make him happy? What are you doing here? Talk to us about this.
One of the best things about being on the show and talking to you about this is that you know what the what the inside scoop is when people are walking down the hall. You hear these conversations, and they're real conversations, right? They're not like, us messing around on Facebook and trolling each other or anything like that. These people are having real conversations in public places that you can hear
Yeah.
this stuff, right? So the question is,
We're gonna jump in the summer league. That's a big benefit of having summer
oh
league. So
yeah, yeah, right. I mean, but and I mean, the question comes is how strong is that friendship, KD and Kyrie? Because basically, right now, you can't trade Kevin Durant, and I think we're going to talk about this later, but I have to bring it up now. The reason you can't trade KD is because the market is way. There's no one that can trade for him. You'd have to trade like half the team and a bunch of picks because of the Rudy Gobert trade, right?
yeah,
Minnesota's
yeah.
at it again, messing up, messing up the market. That messed up the market totally. And it was only, in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm an expert on this, but this just from all the trades that we've seen in the past, this is only to make sure that Cat didn't have to play center, right? Cat playing center,
The six
it
ten, two
takes
hundred
two.
seventy five pound
It,
guy
yeah, I
is only
but
plays it.
he's not as athletic though, right? We know an athletic 6'10" center, right?
Yeah,
We've seen him, right? I mean, Aiton. I mean,
yeah,
Aiton's one, right? I mean,
yeah.
he's not as athletic as those guys. He's more along the lines of Joker, right? He's slightly above Joker as far as athleticism
Oh
goes,
wow!
right? He doesn't have no. I mean, relative to who
Oh,
we
yeah.
see
To the
that
position,
are
to the
dominant,
position. That's
like
what you're
like
saying.
like William. No, I'm just saying. Well, just think about the
Oh my goodness,
athleticism part of it.
that's
Williams
crazy.
from Boston. Williams from Boston is an athlete, like ridiculous, right? He's ridiculous. Aiton's an athlete. He's ridiculous. Wiseman, when he's healthy, he's ridiculous. Does Cat have any lift like that? Is he as fast as those cats? No, he's more skilled, but he's not. He uses his skill that compensates for a lot of the athleticism that these other young cats have, right? That's why
Right.
he's breaking down. He can't guard the centers all game and then put up 30 points, because that's what they really need him to do. Even with Anthony over there, they still need him to do that. So now with Gobert patrols the middle. He doesn't demand the ball. He's going to play all the defense the Cat doesn't have to play, right? So that trade in itself, you'd have to put like a 3-team or even a 4-team trade together to even think about getting rid of KD, right? So I don't see any trade that makes sense that'll happen.
Okay, so
Orlando,
you're in agreement. I wouldn't trade for him. I wouldn't make the trade myself. So
no,
you're in agreement
no,
with me. I
exactly.
wouldn't.
Why?
You can't get enough. You can't get enough. That's
No,
it.
you can't.
Yeah.
100% you can't, right? So I mean, what else can you do but try to trade Kyrie?
So what? So the thought is you're saying Minnesota kind of made a mistake because they gave up too much and they reset the market. I would like to say I would like to say first of all I'm not sure that I agree with you. They reset the market. I think the
Oh
rest of
boy, here he goes.
I think the rest of no, seriously. I think the
I'm
rest of the
listening.
NBA is looking at them like, come on, that was a lot to give up. That was
Yeah,
a lot to move to make most smart minds in the NBA. And of course, we see GMs like um, shit, I can't have Danny Ainge gonna make
hmm
his ridiculous offers and
of
his
course.
ridiculous demands
Right.
just because he can. He's gonna see what he can get out of it, and
Mhm.
as is the Brooklyn Nets are just gonna make these ridiculous offers just to kind of see, just to push the limit and see what they can get. I don't think that really. That's why I say I don't really think it resets the market. I don't think they should trade Kevin Durant. I've made this clear multiple weeks in a row consecutively that I don't think they, as you mentioned, they're not going to get enough. Uh, enough equitable in return equity in return for him.
Right.
I
Right.
think the addition by subtraction is, and you asked a very good question. It's kind of what I asked last week. I'm assuming that once Kyrie opts in for the contract. The next day, KD says makes this trade request. I'm thinking that they are not on the same lines, but then after further discussion, you can see, well, is KD upset with the Nets because they didn't offer his buddy the max, and so now he wants out because they're on. This is like the coach with 1 year left on the contract. He's a sitting duck, or um, is this a posturing move for KD, saying that if you didn't acquiesce to him, and you're probably not going to acquiesce to me, I want out. I don't know that. I'm not that close to the situation where I know, but those are one of the two things that can happen that I think we're looking at here. I personally think I would, in regards to KD, I would take his bluff. I'll play his bluff. Are you bluffing? Are you going to come? I don't think KD in his 15 years of being in the NBA, he has showed. KD is the one guy who wants to play. He wants to get out there. He hasn't showed me that he's going to sit. When he was out due to injury, legitimate reasons to be out. Right? He wasn't out because somebody's birthday, national national tragedy.
Yeah.
He want to play basketball. That's KD, and that's to his detriment. That's what he says. I just want to play basketball. He doesn't want to be a leader. That's a conversation for another day. But that's to his detriment. So I would play that card, banking on that response that we've seen him for the last 15 years, versus him saying I want to trade it. I don't think he's going to pitch a fit. I don't think he's going to pout and not play because that's not in his nature.
What's the
Therefore,
latest on KD though? What's the
no,
latest rumors on KD? Right. So from what I saw, just from just the regular Woj and and all the rest of the guys. I mean, the latest I've heard is that KD is looking to get Kyrie. Well, he doesn't want to play with Kyrie anymore. That's the latest as of today.
he does
And that's
not
the
want to
that's
play with
the that's the I say that in air quotes. That's the rumor
he does.
because one, he's tired of people getting on him, even though he's playing phenomenal, right? I mean, he's playing his tail off. I mean,
No, he's giving
he's
it
doing
all.
he's
He's out
giving
there.
it his all.
He's out
However,
there playing. Yeah.
the ever changing superstar narrative that you've seen me type and post about for the last couple of years now dictates that he has to get it done. Like no matter what,
Oh my,
it's a
oh boy,
ridiculous
oh
narrative. It's
my
absolutely
goodness,
ridiculous.
oh my
I
goodness,
know it's
this
ridiculous.
guy.
I know it's
Listen,
ridiculous.
this
But
is a whole nother conversation, folks. This is a whole nother
we
conversation.
we
This is a whole
cannot
other
we
conversation that goes on
cannot
for years.
if he's a
This
superstar,
this is the
he falls right into that. Now, with that said, if he doesn't want to pay with
that's a
Kyrie, because I mean, here's your scenario. Here's your quick scenario. So Kevin Durant, Kyrie, first year in Brooklyn, they didn't get to play together, right? Injury, whatever the case is. Then, like, let's fast forward a little bit. Later on, you have James Harden, put on a fat suit in Houston and basically, decline 2-year, $100 million extension, right? So I mean, now they're all three of these guys are together. Now you have the mandate, right? So Harden's come to town. Harden didn't want to get the shot either, right? Just to let people know, he said this a long time ago. He didn't want to get the shot, but he got it because he wanted to be a part of a winning. He's about championships, just what he said the other day. So
mhm.
Kyrie's not vaccinated. He's sitting here not, do. I mean, he's a part-time worker at this point. You're paying him full time wage for part-time work. Pretty much. I mean, he doesn't get paid for not playing in the game, so he still got half the salary. That's still 17 million. But
Yeah,
and then they lifted but by the time they lifted the mandate, the chemistry's off, right? I mean, and now James Harden's getting blamed for the losses when Kyrie's not in when he's supposed to be in. Now James Harden says, I'm out, right? So there's a pattern here. It's James Harden has his own set of things. Kevin Durant wants to win, but he's at the point where right now he'll he loves the game. I believe he will. I agree with you. He will play regardless if Kyrie plays or not. The only issue is if Kyrie comes back, is he going to pull a Kyrie? Right? You remember in 2017 when he was trying to leave Cleveland, he's like, you know what? If you don't trade me, I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to have surgery. I'm going to sit out the whole season.
So it's addition by subtraction. I would trade, and this is going to sound ridiculous. This is going to sound actually ridiculous and preposterous. But I was sending Kyrie to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Ricky Rubio. I was saying Kyrie
and what else?
And that's it. Here, Cleveland. Here's done. I wasn't told. If I could get where did Cam? Who's the backup for Chris Paul? Who's the backup?
Oh, Cameron Payne.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
That's a great question. I forgot where he went.
Yeah, because he didn't resign with Phoenix. So I would trade him. I would trade for Cameron Payne. I would trade for Cameron Payne.
You can't though.
And some picks. Give me an expiring contract to make it work. Give me Cam is probably making 15, so I need a couple chump salaries you got. I'll do that. Right. Addition by subtraction. That's how you're winning in that trade. That's addition by subtraction.
Kyrie's at 36 million though. And then he's at 35 or 36 million.
That's what I'm saying. I need a couple chump contracts in there. The NBA, you can do it. Somebody got some chump contracts on their roster.
Of course, but are you getting rid of Kyrie just to get rid of him to keep KD? Is that what you're saying?
Addition by subtraction, yeah. Addition by subtraction. To keep KD. KD, this didn't work out, KD. I mean, KD has to realize that this doesn't work out. I don't have to go through this long conversation of KD, why the last 3 years have not been successful. I don't have to do that. Exactly. You just played your heart out. You played it by yourself because you were out there alone. You're a one-man show out there doing it all, right? I don't have to talk to you about needing somebody help, okay? So, KD, that didn't work. Let's go this route. Boom. You're the man. You're running the show. Let's stop worrying about everyone. We worried about Hart and trying to appease him last year. We had this after he was gone. We worried about trying to appease this other guy. Now, KD is you. Let's just worry about you running this squad, KD. Let's get rid of this other weight that you're carrying around, and let's just run with people that want to be here. That's what I would play on. That's what I would pick on. I would bank on. And so now, addition by subtraction, whatever I can get. I'm not looking for earth-shattering move. I'm looking to make these salaries match and make this trade happen. It's addition by subtraction. What happened with Boston? What happened with Boston when Kyrie didn't show up and didn't play for them? All right, Boston, that young team, Boston ended up going to the finals, right? What happened in Cleveland? Boom, they end up getting number one with Mobley. Okay, it's a repetitive thing. When he leaves the squad, they get better, right? That's what happens. So right. I'm counting on that to happen again. That's how I feel about.
Brooklyn has a lot of good talent, though. They got a lot of good young pieces.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trading. I'm not trading. We already established you're not getting enough for KD. I'm not breaking up my squad. I'm banking on KD playing next week, wanting to play next season, and not wanting to sit out, not wanting to do load management. I'm banking on him wanting to establish he's the best among the best in the game. So that's what I'm banking on.
Right.
Are you excited? You, as a Lakers fan, are you excited to see Kyrie and LeBron remarriage?
Where do I start? Of course, it would be dynamic, right? Because what is Laker Nation all about? Showtime, right? And from what I've been told, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are two of the most skilled NBA players, if not today, almost ever. That's what I've been told. I've been told by unnamed. By unnamed sources.
You have your own eyes. You see what's going on from what I've been told. Listen to this guy.
But with that said, it's going to be a show no matter what. You already know what it's all about when it comes to the Lakers and who they have right now. Even I like the young pieces that they actually got back. There's some guys that can move, that will play defense. There's some guys that can shoot. I don't know what's going to happen during the regular season. and if the playoffs, heaven forbid they get to the playoff. But I like the trade itself. I mean, of course, Westbrook's got to be involved. He's got to go. So that'll be great because that's going to take whatever 40
Listen to me.
47 million off of
That'd be
the Bucks.
great.
They'll do a 3-team trade. Kyrie will come through. They will have to give up not one but both of those picks. They have to do it. They have to
Ooh,
do it. They got to get rid of both of those picks. Yeah, they're mortgaging their future. But Cam, remember this, and I'm going to say this for going forward. And I've been trying to tell people this for years. The
uh-huh.
Lakers have never been a franchise that nurtures young talent for long periods of time if they're not producing right away. They've never done it. They've never done it. I think maybe the longest tenured young person that they've kept that was average or below, probably about 4 to 5 years at the very most. We've never
Okay.
kept them. We've never kept them. They've always been gone. You can go all the way back to Magic and work your way up when Magic retired. The 90s was mostly a bunch of mid-level guys. Cedric Ceballos. You remember the Cedric Ceballos years. And then we picked up
But that
Nick Van
was
Exel.
that a was that? I mean, I guess they weren't really nurturing, talent because they let them go when
No,
Shaq and Kobe
no,
kind of came.
no. They would just no. I mean, they drafted guys, but I mean, they didn't. If they didn't produce right away, they were gone. They were in trades, or they weren't signed back for second contract. Look it up. It is throughout Lakers history. We don't do it, and even the latest number of people that everybody keeps saying we should have kept, like Clarkson and Randall and Bi and Caruso and um the guy that snitched on Swaggy P. What's his damn name? Why am I messing up his name
The
right
point
now?
guard,
He's
yeah, the
right. He
point
was in
guard.
Minnesota. He's doing well now, and everybody says, "Oh, look at all the young talent we gave up." But what are they doing? Some of them are getting better. Some of them are really good players, but they're not helping get towards a championship. Lakers are championship or bust
But
every single year.
is that on them though? Like that's their environment. Is that on
We on who?
the young
Oh
players?
no,
Like
it's not.
to be
It's not on the young kids. No, it's not. It's not on them to produce right out of the box,
right,
plug and play. But
right.
that's Laker Nation.
Okay, so I mean now we're off onto a whole different Laker topic, but that's a franchise thing where they need to correct that, isn't it? I mean that's isn't
No, they
it,
don't.
do they
No,
need to correct it?
why? Why?
So,
Why? 17 championships. Why? Why are you
here we go.
correcting something that's been working for you
One
for
championship in
decades?
the last
Like literally for decades.
one
We've
championship
won
in
a
20 years.
championship every decade from what, the 70s?
Oh my god!
I guess it was maybe the 60s we missed. Of course, there was Minneapolis, which
There's a lot of
some
we
people
in there.
don't want to count.
There's a lot of we in there, fans. You guys
Oh yeah,
notice
it's
there's a lot
we.
of we.
Oh, it's
There's a lot
we. Oh, it's
there's a lot
we.
of we in
It's
there.
we.
But
We all the way home. And we can talk about that another time too. We'll talk about that another time
my
too.
goodness, so okay, so you're looking at landing the big fish. So go whatever you can take to. You're gonna pay. You're gonna go all in for Kyrie. You just want to land the big fish.
Well,
that's your
no, no,
motto.
no, no. I didn't say all in. I know, no, I didn't
Because you
say
went
all
all in
in.
for
I mean,
Carmelo
no,
last season. You went all in for Carmelo season. I mean, I don't know why
well,
you guys
not
continue.
really. Really, is that
See,
all in? That's
that
called all
philosophy.
in.
I mean, you wouldn't pick them up. I mean, nobody else is going to pick them up. Yeah, that was your partner. That was your little brother here. Come up under the wing. We got you right here. Come up under the wing. We got you. But
Well,
this is another thing.
no, guys were
This is another
talking
thing that you
about
guys
the
do.
LeBron
This is
didn't pick.
another
Why
thing.
you leave your boy out so long?
I mean, again, that was a question. That was true, real thing. But here's the thing that you guys do. But Malik Monk, he's a young guy
Mhm.
that was also blossoming in an awkward situation, and yet you guys say,
Right.
"Thank you, thank you, sir. We'll go find somebody
You
else."
know why though?
You
You
think
know
Lonnie
why
Walker?
though?
You think Lonnie Walker is going to give you what Malik gave you last season? You think Lonnie Walker is going to step
Lonnie's
up and be
Lonnie's
that
still a
star?
project though.
Do
He's
you
still a
think?
project
Yeah,
though. You know why we couldn't keep Monk? Because we
I didn't.
thought Monk was going to get more money, and it's in there. We're up against the salary cap. Like we can't. We
Well,
don't.
you can't.
We don't. Okay.
You guys don't have the bird rights. You guys don't have his bird rights. He had them. I
What for
mean, he
Monk?
was.
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
Monk, he was a complete.
No.
He was
No.
unrestricted free agent when you signed him.
He was a
Does he have to for the
yeah.
bird
You're
right?
right. Yeah,
He
yeah, yeah.
has
He
like
was unrestricted. Yeah,
2 or 3 years or something. But
but I
when you
don't
guys
think they
signed him,
exercised it because no, because if they exercise
again,
that,
they
then it
carried it out.
hamstrings them from other trades that they can make in the future. That's
Oh,
what.
so
That's why
oh
they didn't sign him for
oh
this
for
bird
getting Kyrie,
rights.
it has you
Right?
has
They
you
couldn't do
has
that.
for
And no,
getting Kyrie.
I'm not a capologist or anything, so don't super quote me on that. But that's one of the things I heard is why we couldn't keep Monk. Because Monk, why wouldn't we keep Monk?
I don't know
Right?
because I don't know because you now you're trying to go get
It's
Buddy
mostly it's
Hield.
got to be a. It's either about no. It's about yo. See, there you go. That's what
I
I'm
don't know
saying.
what I don't know what
If
the other
you
trying to
use
do.
your
What the
bird
hell?
rights, it hamstrings you for other trades going forward, though. Right?
Okay,
So you
okay,
got to
okay,
be
okay,
careful.
okay,
Now
okay, okay, boss.
we.
All right,
It's
Clint,
not Jerry
help
West.
me
It's
out.
not Jerry
Help me out.
West.
Help me
Yeah.
out. Help me out. Help me out. At what point? Because we saw the same thing happen back in 2009. Was it 2009 after they beat the Celtics the second time with
Yeah.
what was my man? Not sure. Oh, well, how am I
That
being
was
the
2010.
man?
That was
No,
2010.
the guy they signed this season. How am I having Ariza? Trevor Ariza,
Yeah.
another young call. At that time,
Right.
he was a key component in their
Yes.
repeat,
He was
not the one championship, in the
instrumental.
repeat
He was.
championship.
He was
And
instrumental.
they
Yep.
lowballed him with a $4 million contract. They lowballed a 2 year, $4 million or something like that. Come on, why?
But
This is a history.
here,
So
I
as you're saying, they looking for this big fish. They got there's a lot of young guys, and you called them out. That these young guys, what are they doing? They're not producing with these other teams. They're not on the way to a championship.
right.
But these young
Yep.
guys, you need these young core guys to win the championship. You know, your guy Shaq
That's
always talk
true.
about the others. The
Yep.
Shaq always talk
Yep.
about the others, but you guys totally disregard the others. You have a
That.
young guy contributing like a Malik Monk, and
Yep.
you don't find a way to take care of him.
Yep.
And again, the history repeats itself because the Trevor Ariza was back in the same situation after they repeated the championship. So why is that's why I say they may need to change that philosophy. Since that time,
There
against
is
Trevor Ariza, how many championships have they won? That was 2009. They won
right.
one
There
championship
is a
the last 10
common
years. So come
denominator
on.
there that people are not paying attention to. This is one
Yeah,
of
it's
those
the
second
Lakers
and third
organization.
layer
It's the
things.
Lakers
Right.
organization. That's the
It's the
common
management.
denominator.
It's the man. Who was the
Oh,
GM during
thank
that
you.
time?
Thank you. He said
Right.
he
It
admitted
was
it,
Mitch
folks.
Kupchak.
He admitted it.
Mitch Kupchak. Right. So let me let you in on something that I was told that I can't really tell you who told me this. However,
Uh-huh.
so um, so Jerry West, of course, Hall of Fame. If there was a Hall of Fame for GMs, he would be in it. Easy, automatic. Just for finding Kobe, he's a Hall of Famer, right? So this we'll put that to the side. So when he started to go out and help these other teams like Memphis and the Warriors and all these other teams find this young talent, guess who was in charge of management? It was Mitch Kupchak, and guess who? Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson had his little and I'm sorry, the Rambuses. So Kurt Rambis, head coach in New York with the Knicks. You can look that up. That was an utter disaster. Phil Jackson, you know, 11 rings, or how many rings he got? 11? Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, uh,
Okay.
I mean, he went to the Knicks. Utter disaster. Went to the management. Did even worse for the Knicks.
Okay.
Now you have just think about this. This is before like we got rid. They didn't sign back Trevor Ariza. To be honest with you, I think his agent was asking for more money just because Trevor Ariza was playing lights out in the playoffs. Like in the regular
Mhm.
season, Trevor Ariza was kind of he was a piece. He was a role player. In the playoffs, he was lights out. Like he was 3D. He was shooting threes. I think he was shooting around 40% in the playoffs, right? So and Kobe told him, hey, dude, he was our heart and soul. That
Somebody
Kobe
who
said that about
he
Ariza.
earned his money. Yeah, he earned his money.
Exactly, one
That's
hundred
the point
percent.
I'm trying to
But
make.
now you have Mitch Kupchak, Phil Jackson, and the Kurt Rambuses um, that
The Kurt
have Genie's
Rambis.
here, and even then, Genie was fighting for the team at that time from her brother.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that going. Jeannie is a business lady, a business person. She is a business person. That's what she is. She is not a basketball savant at it in any sense of the phrase in itself. She's there to
So
make sure
okay.
that money keeps coming through the turnstiles, and all these concerts
So
keep
that
getting booked.
okay. So you keep so the concerts had nothing to do with the big stars on the court. That's so you want to have big stars
No,
on the
but
court.
that's the
That's it.
that's the revenue. No, but that's the revenue because I mean, think about it.
I mean, that's a family business. Yeah, I get it.
They
I get it.
only own 60% of the Lakers. IMG
But I
owns
mean,
the other parts of the Lakers, so they're not cash. They're basically
I
cash.
understand.
They're not like the new
The
crypto.com.
chasing it. But
Yeah,
come on,
that put a
come
lot of
on.
money in,
I mean,
but they're not
like
like they're the average
I mean,
NBA team. I'm
they're not
telling you.
bomber. Yeah, they're not bombers.
They can't
They're
afford the
not the.
like they they can't afford that luxury tax that the Warriors are paying right now, which is through the roof. They can't do that. They are more of a
You're not
cash
looking for.
family business.
Okay, but you're not you're not getting any sympathy when you give Kobe Bryant $48 million after he tears his Achilles.
Okay, yeah, I can't
Giving
argue
any
that. I
sympathy.
can't argue that.
You're not getting any
I can't
sympathy
argue that.
when you bring in
I know.
LeBron and you're paying Russell 47 this year, and you
Yeah,
have plans on
yeah,
paying LeBron
that was
40
a
next year.
mistake too. Yep,
You're not getting any sympathy from that. So
that was a
they're gonna have to
mistake
do
too.
some
Yep.
as you mentioned, it may be some management faults. They're gonna have to be some more creative in their department. Maybe hire a capologist to work with Rob a little bit better. But does Russell? So you if they
They
bring
probably
in
have guys that are doing that. Yeah, they have guys that are doing that.
how does it work if if this trade actually goes through with Kyrie and they swap Kyrie and Russell? Does it's another reason why I wouldn't trade KD, but we have to clarify: does Russell and KD does that marriage work again, or is Russell just going to be a nomad now and he gets traded to Indiana or
Exactly.
um,
Yes, exactly what'll
he gets
happen. That's
traded to
exactly what'll
Orlando?
happen.
Okay, because he's not going to end up
Because if
in Brooklyn.
well, think about this: if the rumors are true, where KD is like, okay, I'm not playing with Kyrie. If you bring him back, you got to trade me, that type of thing. Okay, I get that. But he's not playing with Russ ever again,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Okay,
even after
so
they
that's
broke up, they said some things that you really can't take back, even on the court. I'm not even talking about Twitter or anything
sure.
like that.
Is there
If
good?
you're a good lip reader, you can figure out what they were saying, and there's some things that you can't take back.
Is there a good landing spot for Russell? If he can't if he doesn't rekindle his relationship with LeBron here, LeBron and AD, and AD comes back healthy, and that hides hides some of his IQ, player IQ deficiencies, and shot selection deficiencies. Can he? Is there a good landing spot for Russell?
For what I understood, just from watching Russell over the last 4 or 5 years, Russell is good for a team that has young talent that will run. Right, Russell's not the runner that he used to be. He picks and chooses his spots now because Russell
Right.
used to just go back and forth,
Yeah.
zoom, 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 zoom,
All
zoom. He
day. Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
stop. Now he's more selective on how he drives to the hoop and different things like that. Here's a metaphor. He's like a Mark Jackson to the Warriors, right? The Warriors weren't that good. Mark Jackson came in, started nurturing Curry, and started nurturing Clay when they drafted him, and
Oh, so
basically,
okay. Okay.
gave them the triple green light to branch out and do different things so that they
That's
can make the
interesting.
team better, right? That's why the players like Mark Jackson, right? However, Mark Jackson wasn't really a good X and O's guy in the playoffs,
He's
right?
not
He
going to take
wasn't
him over
that
the
guy
top.
that could,
He's not
right,
going to take him over the
exactly.
side. Wow,
So
so that's
that's
interesting. So
why.
you got a lot. So you see Russell as a veteran in the NBA. And you
Well,
see
yeah.
Russell with 6, 7 more years in the NBA. If you envision him as more of a veteran, a coach on the floor type guy,
Why not? For what he
because
does, I mean, he
he
can
hasn't
still
showed that IQ.
rebound.
He
He can
hasn't showed
still
that
pass.
he hasn't showed that IQ though. He in crunch time
He-
he hasn't showed that player IQ. And when you and a player with his of his stature, Pat, former NBA MVP, former finals appearance, perennial All Star game. When you put Russell Westbrook in a basketball game, you expect leadership from him. And if he's not
I'm
giving
good.
you leadership in key plays down the line, why is he playing
I
for
know.
you?
I got
You
about
follow me?
3 or 4 bullet points for you. I'll start with this. The first thing with going to the Lakers. He has not been in that kind of a spotlight. That kind of a spotlight where every single play is scrutinized. No,
Stop
no.
it with
Think about it. Just think about it. The lights shine brighter in L.A. and in New York and now in Miami too, and also
Okay, so are
well,
you telling me
Chicago
that
to a
are you telling
lesser
so
extent.
Russell been in the league 12 years? So you're telling me in 12 years, in our 12 years of
I'm
watching
telling
NBA
you.
basketball, are you telling me in our 12 years of watching NBA basketball, we have not seen any of this in 12 years?
No, I'm not saying we
Or
haven't seen any of this.
or
I'm just telling you
we
when
haven't spoke
the
about it
lights are
because it just happened.
brightest.
And we haven't spoken about it because it happened. And I can tell you, I've had questions about Russell's IQ before he showed up on the Lakers. Me personally,
Yeah,
I can go
yeah,
date back
yeah.
when
I
they
mean,
played when they played in
oh,
the
you know
NBA
what?
years ago.
Only, yeah,
So
exactly,
so
exactly. Only
so
in like playoff situations in the finals is when those really pop up because guess what? The lights are the brightest, right? You can go to a preseason game in
that's
LA and the lights are going to be on you. There's going to be Bill Plaschke is going to write something about you that he doesn't like. You oh no, you missed a free throw in the second quarter that could have put the game in
shout out to
reach or
Bill.
something stupid like that, right? That's what the lights are though. You can't. What do they do in New York Knicks? You can. They tell the players don't read the back page of the post because if you mess up even a little bit in there, the back post is going to come up with a nickname for you. They're going to come up with some
But it's,
ridiculous picture that's going
that
to
just
just
sounds
downgrade you.
Clint, that just sounds like we're lazy. We're being lazy as fans to say, okay, because this
No,
happened
well,
in LA, New York,
well,
Boston,
well,
Dallas, that
dog.
it only sounds a thing. I mean, I can tell
What
you
are
that I have concerns about this, but now it just seems lazy that he puts on a Laker uniform. Now all of a sudden, everybody must acknowledge and kind of acknowledge what we've already seen out of this guy for years.
dude?
It
You've
just
been in LA. You know what LA is like. I don't
I
even
do.
have to tell you.
I
You
was,
know what
I
LA
do.
is like.
I
You
know
know
what you're
exactly what LA is like. Even the
saying.
Clippers. The Clippers are have expectations now. Even though they've never won anything, they have expectations now.
Yeah, we're talking about. We're going to get to them later, but let's. So there's been some big time signings. Your guy
Hmm.
Dame Lillard signs with a big deal with the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Clint, he's saying he wants to win. He doesn't want to be traded. He wants to stay in Portland. I'm with you. For nice fresh air in Portland, that money goes a long way in Portland.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
You got a $261 million extension. That doesn't say winning to me. Um, that doesn't say winning to me. And he knows,
You
and
know.
so in a couple of years he's going to be making 60 a year, 60 million a year. I,
Yeah.
I
You know what that tells me?
okay.
You know what that tells me?
He's
That tells
not
me
interested.
generational wealth. That tells me
He
generational
already
wealth.
had
That
he
tell
had
you.
generational wealth. He had
Well, I
generational
mean,
wealth.
until the earth
I mean,
ends,
listen.
of course, yeah. But he doesn't want to
I mean,
win. No,
winning is not number one on the on the schedule, if you will.
right.
And I was kind of
Exactly.
disappointed. I thought it was a little higher on his pedestal. Nobody was going to blame him if he went the KG route and was like, okay, let me go to, let me go to Chicago. Let me go to New York. They're screaming for a point guard. Nobody would have blamed him for going ahead, jumping on the carousel and trying to find him a team that works. You notice I
Dude,
left one out, but nobody would have blamed him for that. And he just take 160. I just don't think Portland's ever going to win. I didn't.
I would.
I, I don't think
You and
they're
I
ever going to
both
be
know.
contention.
You and I both know Dame Lillard's a real one. Like when it comes to where we come from, and if there was no NBA, those are the guys that we would be looking up to, right? Dame's a real one, right? He doesn't cheat the game, right? I mean, he played. Well, he just had the surgery, the ab surgery, but that he's been playing through for the last 3 years, right? I
Yeah,
mean, don't. There's no doubt that he's gonna give you everything he got. Even when he's playing with an injury that's been just nagging him for years, right? I mean, we didn't even know. Most of us didn't even know that. A lot of people
right.
from Portland. I'm wearing a Blazers shirt. I'm not gonna stand up right now, but I'm
Me
wearing a
too.
Blazers jersey right now. So, and I didn't know that. I had no idea, and I try to keep my ear to the ground when it comes to all sports, Northwest and West Coast, right? I didn't know, but with that said, it's not like the old like in football, you can like if you have somebody making a lot of money and you're needing to bring some players in to help the team, you can renegotiate that contract. You can restructure it. You can have it paid out in over a certain amount of time and different things like that. The NBA used to be like that, right? And I'll give you an example. Luau Deng. Go look up Luau Deng's contract. We just got done paying him off last season. All right. The NBA doesn't do that anymore. So
Bobby
now,
Bonilla, the NBA
yeah,
contract.
Bob, yeah, right. Now they don't do that anymore because of the I guess you can say the accounting gets really jumbled and kind of it's harder to read. It's harder to find out if people are cheating the system or not. Like Minnesota tried to do with Joe Smith. You remember that? What 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 Dame Lillard just did is he made sure that they're going to have mid-level players for the next 3 or 4 years. They're not going to get a big gun. They can't. They can't afford it unless they're going to pay for it. And I
And,
mean, Paul Allen's
and,
wife's talking about the team's not for sale
the
now,
sister,
but
the
it might
sister,
be soon. Or the sister is it a
right?
sister? Okay,
Yeah,
I
the
thought it was his
sister.
wife, but
I was
okay.
surprised. I thought I was surprised that Phil Knight tried to get some partners to go by the Blazers. I was surprised when it came
Why?
out that he needed partners. I was just surprised that he needed
Well,
partners. I didn't
it's
think I just
leverage.
Phil Knight cut
It's
the check.
leverage. No, he doesn't need it, but it's leverage, right?
He
It's
doesn't.
just like when
I guess if
when
you
a
don't
team
want to
needs a
spend
new
all your money, I
stadium.
guess.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It's when a team needs a new stadium, they go to the state and the city and say, okay, you guys got to vote on taxes, so you can
Mhm.
pay for the majority or all of the stadium, or we're probably going to go somewhere else. That's what that is. That's rich folk stuff. They've been doing it for years, right?
Yeah.
Sonic Gate.
So let's take. Yeah, well, that's another story for another day. I want to bring that up too, man. If we have time, but I want to back up and go to Russell. And as we were talking, I had this comparison, and I just wanted to know: are we going to see this? Are we going to see Russell bow out like Allen Iverson did, or is Russell going to be able to um, adapt? And what is this? What's the word for it? What's the word? It's not adapt. There's a assimilate to who he actually is now versus to who he was in the NBA.
That's a good word for that too. Can he blend in with the teams that he's going to be on going forward? And Russell Westbrook's greatest strength is his speed. Like his confidence is all out of this world. It's always going to be that, but it's all about his body. Can he still go around people and draw people and dish it off to people for easy shots or not? Once he can't do that, then that's when things are going to go south, and he's going to really have to embrace a second role or even a third role depending on the team that he goes to.
Yeah.
Can he do
Probably,
that?
probably.
I haven't seen him do it yet. He didn't do it with Harden. He didn't he didn't do it with Beal,
He
right?
did it with
I
Chris
mean,
Paul. He did it not Chris
sort
Paul.
of,
He did
sort
it
of,
with not Paul George, kind of. He did it with Paul George. I mean,
sort of.
Paul George had his biggest season, or one
He
of his
did.
better seasons.
Yeah, he did.
So
It was an
that did.
MVP.
But
Yeah, he was second in MVP
that'll be
voting. Yep.
interesting. That'll be interesting to see over the next. I think we're at that point. Russell's at that point. Is he going to become Iverson or not, and just kind of play his way out of the NBA, or is he going to be assimilate and add some years to his contract?
Well,
Bradley Beal is similar to Dame Lillard. Bradley Beal signs a big deal with the Wizards. Are we resigning him to just the same sort of future and just a very good player on an okay team?
what are the Wizards going to do? What have the Wizards done besides having Westbrook and going to the playoffs in the first round? I mean, what have they
Yeah,
done
I mean, I
before
don't
that?
know.
I mean,
I'm
they
kind of
have young
disappointed.
talent,
Yeah, I thought we should get more out of Hachimura. I'm disappointed in myself because I thought he was going to be
well,
a
he's
bigger
still
impact.
young though. Yeah, he's still
Yeah,
young. I mean,
I thought he'd had a bigger impact. Like I thought his
but think
impact
about
was
this
going to
though.
be immediate.
His development is totally
It's
on the
it's
franchise,
done.
right? He's a little
Yeah.
different of a player. Like here's an example. Um, if you put like let's say we'll say John Morant because he was on our cheat sheet today. John Morant you can put on any team. He's going to get better no matter what. Doesn't matter what the franchise is. His upside is through the roof, right?
Right. Yeah.
Archie Moore, we didn't really know. I mean, he exactly he showed flashes of, and that's basically what he got drafted on. He showed flashes of goodness. I mean, he's an athlete, not a super athlete, and
Yeah.
he
Super
had good
athlete.
footwork, right? Now it comes down to, can his basketball IQ grow? Can he get more tools in his bucket as far as like getting to his spots on the floor, making sure that he can increase his scoring average on a regular basis? He'll have the opportunity to do that. Last season, he didn't really. He kind of leveled off, like you said, right? And I was expecting him to do more too. I picked him up in a few times in a few of my fantasy leagues, just so I could try to
Sure.
scavenge some points, right? But eh, Washington Wizards aren't not. I mean, Bradley Beal is one of those guys where, because Bradley Beal didn't come in as a scorer, he could barely shoot.
No.
Like, he was an athlete, but he built himself
Yeah.
into that. I don't think Archie
Right.
Moore
Right.
is going to do it. I mean, they got Kuzma too, right? I mean, Kuzma's there.
Yeah.
Has Kuzma's honestly, I think he's close to peaking. I don't think he can get any better than he is.
You think so? You think he's just a six-man type of guy? Excuse me.
I think that's
You
the
think that's
Washington Wizards though. That's who they are. That's who that franchise is. They don't really develop their young talent
Derek
well.
Kyle Kuzma of the NBA to Washington Wizards? They show you this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not making Kyle Kuzma acronym yet. But I mean, that's what they've been. I mean, who else besides Beal and Westbrook? Who else is notable out of the Washington Wizards the last 5 years?
Well, I mean, they had your guy KCP. I mean, they haven't had a notable team. You're absolutely
That's
right.
not notable. That's
They're
not
I
notable.
mean, yeah, I mean, he is a champion. I mean, I don't know where you want to go with
Not
it,
with
but
the Wizards though.
but I mean, he was a quality. He was a
He
contributor
still
on that champ.
is. Like,
I mean, he
yeah,
was a
he just. I
contributor.
mean, yeah. I mean, KCP is.
But I
He's
don't know.
one of those guys. He's
I kind of would have liked to see Dame in the same. Dame and Bradley Beal. I got him in the same category. Very good players. Signed big deals with these average teams, and God bless them for getting that generational wealth. But that does
yeah.
doing what they did doesn't show any signs of leadership and winning, desire for win to me. What do you see
Well,
out of this Donovan
winning.
Mitchell? I mean, it doesn't say. I mean, signing that contract with either one of these teams doesn't show me that you're not signing that contract to win. Winning is not in your on the top of your priority list when you
Right.
sign those bigger deals for either one of
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah.
So you can't don't come to me and say I want to win. Winning is that's important to me. Signing a
But
contract
on
like
the
they
flip
did,
side,
it,
that's exactly what the NBA wanted to happen because, and
they
KD's
want to
trying to
stay
buck the
within that.
trend too. They
That's
want
fine.
the stars to stay in
Again,
town. That's what the bird rights
I'm
are
not mad
for.
at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at you signing and making your
Mm.
big money. I'm not mad at that at all. But then
Mm.
don't come. I don't want to hear Dame talking about I want to win. I don't want to hear Bradley Beal talking about I want to win. Don't talk. Don't say it again.
You
Just say,
you
hey,
hard on him, Kale. You
we're
hard
just
on
trying
him.
to be the best friend. No, it's just don't play the facade. You sign for the big deal, great, fantastic for you.
Mm.
But just don't. Hey, I want to be a coach. I'm gonna coach these young guys up as best as I can. Hey, that's what
Right.
we're going to see what happens. Don't talk
Yeah.
about any. Don't talk about playoffs. Don't talk about championship. You're not in that discussion. You're not in that discussion anymore. Let's not have that conversation. But Donovan Mitchell. My question
Mm.
for you: so the Knicks, it looks like he's leaning to the Knicks. Bronson already went to the Knicks, which I think was a good pickup. Well, let me take this. Let me take this back. I want to ask you this, Clint. You're Mr. Historian.
Yeah.
Brunson, I love Brunson with Luka Doncic. I loved it. It was a great comparison. Brunson wasn't the superstar. Luka was. Brunson can
Mhm.
come in, and by the time he left Dallas, it wasn't a quiet contribution that he was given. Up until the playoffs, obviously, it was
Right.
not a quiet
Yeah. Yeah.
contribution.
Oh yeah. He balled.
Him going to New York. I like Brunson. I like the way he runs a team. He's a very good point guard, not a great point guard, but a very
Mhm.
good point guard in the fact that he can get others some shots, some easy buckets, and he can score himself. He's
Mhm.
not a liability on the defensive side. That's what I
Right.
like about Brunson.
Mhm.
Very good, not great.
Mhm. Well,
Donovan Mitchell.
Brunson.
Hold on. Donovan Mitchell. So the Knicks got him. I want you to know your thoughts on kind of Brunson and the pairing with him and Donovan Mitchell. I don't believe. I personally thought Donovan Mitchell was better on the team of Utah between him and Rudy Gobert. I thought Brunson. A lot of people could go either way. I thought Donovan Mitchell was that guy.
Mhm.
However, Utah with Donovan Mitchell as that guy was a number two around two exit in the Western Conference, right?
Mhm.
You put Brunson on New York, or excuse me, you put Donovan Mitchell on New York with Brunson. I think they're still a number two, second round exit in the New York, although they may be more exciting. I think we still see a ceiling for the guy. I don't think, and I'm saying a long way to say, I don't think Donovan Mitchell is a number one guy who's going to carry you to the championship. What's your thoughts on them signing the Knicks signing Brunson and then the pairing of Brunson in the New York Knicks? Go ahead.
Okay, so you're saying like if all things are relative, that Mitchell would be in New York with Brunson, right? And I mean that's
Correct.
with
Yeah, that's
Randall
kind I
and
think that's kind of the expectation. Yeah.
okay. I honestly believe they'll move Randall to get Mitchell there, but that's another story.
Do you want? Do
I
you want? Do you want Randall in Utah? I don't know that. Well,
no no
that
no.
might
I mean
that
they
actually
can't
might
keep
work.
Randall.
Utah can't keep him,
No
or
no.
you saying
The
if they
Knicks
trade
can't
for
keep Randall if they get Mitchell. Randall
if they
has to
get
go.
okay,
Yeah, he has to
actually
go.
off the court that might be a great pairing for Randall.
That
Off the court,
exactly because he's
that's
gonna get
another.
all the shots he wants. He's gonna get all the shots he wants in
Yeah, I
Utah,
didn't
no
think
matter what.
on the court that's a great deal, but I think he likes to play in the snow, so I think that makes it a great comparison for that's a great
Yeah,
that's a great
okay,
comparison
yeah. I
to
mean, there's
Utah.
that
But
too. But yeah,
then
I mean,
him getting all the shots on a bad team, I don't think he's going to be mad at that as well. So go ahead
no,
with your thought.
exactly. No, I mean that's the whole thing, right? He'll be paired there if Clarkson's still there. It'll be him and Clarkson taking most of the shots. Conley's going to distribute. I mean, he's getting older, so he's basically going to be kind of the third wheel. Clarkson might start again, which may or may not be good for them. But as far as New York goes, it's exciting. It's excitement. It's definitely going to be excitement no matter what happens.
Appreciate your
With
feedback,
that
Nathaniel. Go ahead. Finish it.
however, with that said, playoffs, I mean, second round, I mean, okay, who would they beat? If all things relative, let's say Randall, they got to keep Randall, and they got Mitchell too. Who are they going to beat? Are they going to
I mean,
beat
that's
Miami,
that's best
Philly,
case scenario.
Brooklyn, um, Milwaukee? Who are they going to
Ooh,
beat in the second round?
ooh.
No,
No,
they're second round
no,
all
I'm
over
saying
again.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the second round exit. The
Yeah,
combination on paper, that's the second round exit. I don't know.
yeah,
Even if they keep Randall, even if they keep Randall, that's the best
right,
case scenario. Is what I'm
exactly.
saying.
Yep.
I don't know that. I don't. Is done. And so I'm asking you: Is Donovan Mitchell? Is he the number one? Is he a game changer? I don't think so. Do you think so?
Well, he is. I mean, let's okay. Let's not get too carried away with this. I mean, his teams have underachieved.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell, when he's
Let's
healthy, he gets
let's
hurt a
let's
lot during the
okay.
playoffs.
Okay. All right. Regardless, let's keep it a 100 a butt. Clint,
Mhm.
we started off the show and you was like Kevin Durant is on the clock. As you started the show by saying Kevin Durant is on the clock. Is Donovan Mitchell on the clock? Does he have that gravitas that we need to put him on the clock?
Well, I mean, what do you mean on the clock? Because Utah doesn't have to trade him. They don't have to trade him. They already
No,
got rid
I
of
no,
Gobert.
I did. No, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Earlier, you said Kevin Durant has to be put on notice. He has to get it done. He has to win a championship. You said
Right,
that. Those are your words that you used
right,
a half hour ago.
right.
Is Donovan, and so you put Kevin Durant on the clock. Understood. Everybody's to
Yep,
this point where we need to see Kevin Durant get it done, lead a team to the championship. Is Donovan
yep.
Mitchell on that clock, or is he even in that realm
Oh, as
that
far
we
for a championship.
yeah? Is he on? Is he in that realm that we even put him have that conversation with him?
No, he is a game changer though.
Wow.
Like he is
Okay.
a
Well,
game changer, but
not if
he's
we can't
not.
put the team on. Not if we can't put the team on his back.
No, there's levels to
We
this
can't.
though. There's levels to
Well,
this though, because
this is what I'm asking you.
when
Talk to the
you
people.
when like if we've seen him in the playoffs actually carry
Uh,
the Utah
I
Jets.
mean,
Like
come on,
we've seen him do
okay.
that. Like literally, we've seen him do that.
Him and Murray went off for they
Yeah,
had 50 points apiece for two games back to
right.
back. Okay, big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah,
That
yeah. I
was two
mean,
games. So he was on
big
fire.
deal. What you
He was,
mean,
he
big
was,
deal?
he
You
was on
know, you
fire
can't,
for a week. He
man.
was on
50
fire for a
points
week.
don't grow on trees.
He was on fire for a week. What have we seen after that? He was on
Well, I
fire for
mean,
a week.
you
What
can
have we
say
seen
that about a
before?
lot of cats, though.
Okay, get on
He's
fire
a
in the playoffs.
he
Get on fire
he
in the
is a
playoffs when I say that.
he is a he is a top level star. He is not a superstar.
but you're not willing to put the pressure on his back to say Donovan Mitchell. Now you're on the clock. You're not willing to say that, which
No,
tells
I
me you're
can't
not even.
because
Yeah.
he's not a superstar.
So
He's
he's
not a
okay.
super. He's
Let's
budding.
continue.
He's
Let's
budding,
continue.
but he's
Let's
not a
continue.
superstar though.
Let's continue the conversation. You're not even going to
Yeah,
talk.
that's what
There's
you
a
want.
lot of.
That's
There's a lot. We're on a time schedule. He's not even. We gave him too much time already. So I was like,
all
what do
right,
you
all
think?
right.
Why are the Suns playing around with Aiden? Like last year, they made it known that they weren't going to
Oh
give. They weren't
man,
going to sign him.
that's so
This year,
bad.
they were forced to do the deal with him. What's the deal with it? Why are they playing around with him? Or is he a fit? I think Aiden. Okay, he's not a $30 million. He doesn't deserve 30 million. And if he's
Why
asking for
not?
30 million, if he's
Why
asking
not?
for 30 million, he needs to get smacked in the head. Not
What?
on this. Aiton. Is it that you're asking for 30 million? I don't know the problem. I haven't really looked into it that much. But Aiton, if you're asking for $30 million on a team that has um, Devin Booker and Chris Paul on it, where just those two names alone, that you're not in that category. Okay, you have to come in via under those two. That's right off the bat, you're number three. That doesn't command $30 million a year. Chris Paul's aging. You already know that. Chris Paul
Mhm.
made you a better player. So you gotta wait for you just sensibly. You need to wait until Chris Paul is out of here to even discuss
Well, when's
filling that.
that gonna be though?
It can't go for it can't go on forever. I mean, we know
Well, that's what they said about another guy that's going into his 20th year. They said, "Oh,
no,
he
no,
can't
stop,
play forever."
no, stop it.
What?
This other guy going into his 20 years, where he's had one injury on his record that kept him out of
Two,
one playoffs. Two,
two.
well, I say one, the first
Oh,
one,
you just yeah. The
they
first
kept
one,
him
yeah,
out
for
where
sure.
they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
He hasn't had 3 or 4 injuries. I think Chris Paul's working on a third or fourth injury that's
right.
injuring his team in the playoffs.
Third or fourth. That's probably six or seven.
So
He's
we can't.
been hurt a lot.
Fair enough. So we can't. That's a false equivalency there you're giving me. I
Yeah,
think.
fair enough.
I
Fair
think
enough.
so. He's going to be out of there within the next year or two. He's at the point now. You're like, can this continue? So this year we see the same thing happen. We have to. If I'm sorry, we have to cut this contract. As great as you've been, Chris Paul, you just haven't served up in the playoffs. As great as you've
And
been,
he's getting paid.
I know. This is what I'm saying.
He's getting paid.
Unless you want to talk about restructuring some things. I want to keep you around, but right now I'm paying you. You're getting a big chunk of the salary, and you're giving me not near the production that we want from you or that you want from yourself. So we have to have this conversation. So I'm saying that to say, Aiton, I don't know why they're dicking around with it. Can you, maybe I'm missing something? It's the attitude with the coach, the disagreement with the coach. Okay, if that disagreement with the coach was so bad, don't resign him or don't match the offer. If that would have told me like then something was really real, that disagreement with the coach. You resigned him.
So
I don't know. I'm wondering what's going on with that one.
it's there's a few different options I can speculate on because there's no way they shouldn't have eight. If it's about the money, okay, then that's James Jones, pulling the strings on that portion, trying to navigate and make sure that he's improving the team. I get that part of it. Monty Williams, I mean, Monty's a stand-up guy. He's not going to say anything bad about anybody publicly or anything like that. So that's got to be some behind the scenes practice stuff. Like, oh, I'm not being featured enough, or something like that, right? I get that part because that's normal. That's normal for a player
Yeah,
that's breaking out and all that stuff. Now, with
I,
that said, though, what they did was so I think it was foul. I think it was really foul because what they did is they waited for somebody to match an offer sheet, which was the biggest in NBA history. Don't get me wrong. However, it was about $30 million less than what the Phoenix Suns could have paid him
right,
as a max offer.
right.
So he
This
was
is
upset that they pulled that. They wouldn't give it to him. So
right.
I'm that in itself is going to cause ripples. And of course, if he has
And
any type of
how do
agent
you
that's
do
worth
that?
something,
And, and how do you do that if you have a guy that you want to be? You're going to pay the guy a handsome salary,
right?
expect him to be a part of your franchise, a contributor, integral part of your franchise, and then you leave him out to dry for a year, and it's like, okay, we want you around, but we're not sure if we don't want to give you the max, but we're not sure what you're worth, so we're not even going to make an offer. We're going to let the market decide what you want. Why
I
resign him?
know.
Like I don't know how you bring that back into the
Well, you
locker room.
have to. I mean,
Like
you got to
that
resign him, of course. I mean, for no other reason than to actually use him in a trade for somebody bigger,
so,
like
so
maybe a
final,
Kevin
final.
Durant.
Well, if that's the case, he can't be traded to to January, and then
Exactly.
you know,
January
and then
15th is
it
the last.
determines like uh, at that point, both teams are obviously going to see how they're doing and how their season goes before they make their decision. But
Yeah.
that's a decision for another day. We're gonna have to get you
Well,
back
it's
on the show to
July. We're in
see how
July.
that
It's
thing, yeah,
way
to see
down
how
the
things
road, right?
play. So, speaking of, we're in July. Some of the things that we focus on, we talked about the summer league here. What's your takeaway from the summer league and just the summer league in general? We'll talk about certain players here in a moment, but what's your takeaway
Yep.
just from the summer league in general?
The summer league's always cool, right? It's
Do you
always
put
good to
any
see
stock
the
in their game? Do you put stock in their game?
well, some of them, right?
Okay.
You can tell, but I mean, and then we say the eye test. You know, a lot of people use that real loosely, but honestly, if you know the game, you can see by the eye test that some players have some upside versus other people. Like for instance, like when Lonzo and Kuzma got drafted and they were in the summer league together. You know, it was obvious. You know, Lonzo was a star and Lonzo got the MVP, Kuzma was even though Lonzo didn't play in the championship game, but Kuzma did. Kuzma showed promise, but everybody saw that Lonzo had the most upside. Right, that's what you're looking at when you're looking at these different teams. I mean, it looks like they're just playing rat ball. They're just chucking up shots here and there, and for the most part, some of them are. But there's also like little gems that you'll see, in there. And mostly, of course, my focus is mostly on the Warriors and the Lakers and the Clippers. I mean, I look at some of the other teams too and see some of their players, but of course, looking at some of the top, the lottery picks. But like Matt McClung, right? That guy was with the Lakers. You know, he played in the D League or the G League for them. And the Warriors snapped him up on some kind of like hocus pocus type,
The
language
little
that's
point guard,
in
the
the
little
in the in the
point guard you're talking
CBA.
about.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
little
the
point
little
guard you're
point
talking
guard.
about. Yeah,
Oh, he played at Georgetown for 4 years and was like he had like he's got these mega hops, right? So the Warriors signed him for a year. But you could see when he played in the summer league that he had that gravitas, that oh, this guy, he has some moves, he's aware, he gets to his spots, right? You can see that in some of those players. So most of the players will just blend in, but like you can tell the players that stand out, that play well, that find a groove, you can see that. But it's always exciting to watch the summer league to see who's going to pop out. Like I mean, I'll give you a quick example. Years ago, I watched who was the guy from Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks, the point guard Sheldon something or other. I think he's from New York. And I wrote an article on Jeremy Lin after he scored 30 points in the summer league. In the
okay.
summer league, this is when I saw him. I was like, oh,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
he's nice. He got some moves. He's getting to his spots. He knows what he's doing. 3 or 4 years later, Lin's sanity hits.
Look
Right?
at you. Oh,
You
look,
can
say
see
30
that
point.
stuff if you
Okay.
pay
Okay.
attention.
Okay. Let the people know. Good point. Let the people know exactly where they can find you one more time.
MJ
Let,
Lover 23 on Twitter and Instagram. You can
okay.
also find me on the Facebook group Voice of the Fans.
There you go. And we know you. We know you're NBA historian. That's why we have you on the show. So I'd like to point these things out. And also, you spent some time in the Northwest, man. So I got a question for you. Is being from the Northwest myself, I understand the chip on your shoulder. I understand being
Ah,
overlooked. I know. I understand um, being overlooked and not everybody looking the other direction when you're just as talented and putting on just as good of a show, but because of where you are, they want to overlook you. I get that feeling. I know what that's like. Um, Tari Eason says it might be something in the water. Clint, why does this? How does the talent just? What's going on in the Northwest that you just keep talent just keeps bubbling up, bubbling up, bubbling up? Talk about the underground hoop circuit up there in the Northwest that keeps generating this awesome talent that makes it to the league year after year after year.
we have been long overlooked for years, decades, before we finally had our rush of players that came through to the NBA. At one point, I think we had 16 or 17 players from Seattle or in surrounding Seattle area. We claim Isaiah Thomas. We claim him as
Yeah,
Seattle,
yeah,
even though he's
yeah,
T
yeah.
Town, right? What one of
This
the
will have
things
a
that I
lower
saw
floor.
developing, right, exactly, right. One of the things I saw when when I was playing, when I was in my 20s playing semi-pro, is the Sonics were an integral part of seeing young
The
talent
city.
and being able to let them into the facility, right? To actually go in, do workouts, gain new skills, play against, some of the pros and some of the people that are trying to be pros, people that they were working out. Jamal Crawford comes to mind. I mean, he wasn't the first person to actually do it, but actually he's probably one of the first in the '90s generation. That's when the explosion came because we've
Yeah,
always had talent. Like I mean,
right.
I can name some people that that a lot of people won't even know, uh, Chris Fogerson, right?
Hmm.
You and me both know who Chris Fogerson is. He definitely should have went pro, but things got in the way. That's how
Life
that's
happened.
that's how it
Life
is
happened.
with a lot of places across it. But what happened was a lot of guys started to get focused. Once a couple of our guys got in there, and then we had that hometown rush to the Washington Huskies, where we were able
Hmm.
to keep the young
Yeah,
talent,
but the
Brandon
door was
Roy,
open there for right,
Anthony Williams, yeah, Nate
right.
Robinson, and then we got that spotlight came. Once that door was open, what they did one of the smartest things and unselfish things that a lot of pro athletes don't do. They went back not only to do camps and talk to the younger people, they gave them the blueprint. There's a
Hmm.
blueprint that you can follow to do the workouts, to work on the certain things that they're looking for to
That they're
improve
looking for,
teams
right,
as far
right.
exactly. So then you get the Terrence Williams. Then you have Aaron Brooks doing the same thing, right? All these guys start giving back. That's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. They started giving back to hey, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to go to get looked at. One of the prime examples before the Washington rush was everybody thought he was going to the University of
Who's that?
Washington. He's a
Back up
standout
again.
at
Who was that?
Franklin High School.
Back up. Who was that? Who was that? Back
Jason
up again.
Terry,
There you go. Okay.
Jason Terry, the Jet,
Yeah.
right? So instead of he did one of the smartest things ever. He went on his recruiting trips and he went to Arizona. He saw that they were stacking up basically NBA caliber talent, going forward. And he, what? I'm not staying hometown. This is the best chance to get drafted. I'm going to the Arizona Wildcats. And they did well.
Right. Right.
They did very
Well,
well.
they
And,
won the championship. Yeah.
16 or 17 years later, right, exactly. But he came back and he
Right.
gave the blueprint, like to
Right.
Aaron Brooks,
Right.
and the
Right.
Brooks brothers, right?
Right.
And
Right.
Will Conroy, and I mean Marcellus Kemp. I mean, I can go down the list of people that got the blueprint. They may not have all, like Trey Simmons. They may not have all stayed in the NBA. Some of them got a
Mhm.
couple 10-day contracts, but they had great careers overseas. So
The
we've always had the
experience. Yeah.
talent.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about the exposure and then the blueprint to follow so that you can have your best chance. Dude, they're less than a 1 percentile of the basketball population gets in the NBA, gets a
Oh, sir.
gets a touch. We
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
16 or 17 people in at one point, active.
And then going to this year, I mean, you got the number one draft pick of the year. Then you got three in the
Yeah.
top 10. I'm gonna
Oh,
say
that was
so.
great.
Masari Ujiri, Masai is the GM for the Toronto
Yeah.
Raptors. Masai
Yeah.
Ujiri famously was a Nathan Hill
Yeah.
alum, and Masai tells me that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I ever had this. We had this conversation on the pod, but Masai says, I said, Masai, do you still play basketball? He says, one of my dreams is to get back on the basketball court in Green Lake and get a run in Green Lake because he
Hmm.
hasn't played there in so long. He was
Exactly.
always, and this is
Exactly.
what he said. This is one of his
Yeah.
honest moments. He says, I wasn't good enough to get on the court back then. So I was always trying to get on the court, but now that I think I can get on the court now, I was like, yeah, I think they'll let you on the court, Masai. I don't think you got to worry
Yeah.
about the
Oh
team
yeah.
fouls,
Yeah.
buddy. I don't think that you have to
Nah.
worry about
Nah.
the team fouls
Exactly.
either. But
Nah. Nah.
and that's
Exactly.
just
And he
amazing
right.
that there's been a lot of good talent there. So thank you for clarifying because I know you've been a part of that as well of that bubble It's not even a regentrification. It's a gentrification of basketball coming out of the
There you
Northwest.
go.
Um,
Yeah.
Again, I pointed out that quote from Tari Eason, but I think Tari Eason. I didn't watch Paulo game one. I saw him on highlights, but I went to summer league. I went for day 3 through 7, I think it was. So I didn't
Hmm.
see Paulo. He sat out. Tari was the best one I
Oh,
saw. Tari was the best guy I seen in summer league, and I think probably 12 games that I saw.
yeah.
Probably 12 games in like 3 days.
Right.
Um,
Right.
what's your experience with Tari Eason, and how's he going to fit in with Houston? Because his
I
ability,
just
his
like
all around
his
game, his all around game,
yo.
he wasn't strictly he wasn't a jump shooter, he wasn't a point guard, he wasn't a
Right.
he was a kind of a wing a 3 and D, but he does everything. He can handle the ball, he
Mhm.
can make plays, he can
Exactly.
play some defense, he can get rebounds. I did He did a lot of things very well. I didn't say he wasn't great in any specific category, but doing all the things a lot,
Mhm.
doing a lot of things well on the court gets you a lot of playing time. So I think
Oh
that's what I
yeah.
like
Oh
about
yeah.
Tari. What's your thoughts on Tari? What did I miss, or was I was I seeing too much of Tari? What's your thoughts?
No, you're right on the money. So here's what I saw, and I think I caught like a game and a half of what of his games. I watched some of his highlights too. The one thing that I was taught by a coach that you and I both know from our high school, Frank Ahern,
Hey, her, yeah,
rest in peace. He told me the more skills you have, the more positions you can play, the more minutes you can play on the court, and that's easy. He can do just about
yeah.
everything, and that's great for him because one thing that I heard that they're trying to do, and this is kind of it's bittersweet, is that Houston's trying to move Porter so that they can make way for some of their younger talent to actually bud and grow. I thought Porter was
Some of the younger
exactly,
talent, Porter's 25,
exactly,
24, 25.
exactly,
Okay.
right. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying, right? So that I mean that's where Houston is right now, but
But
he,
this will
yo,
be Porter's what, fourth team in 3 years, fourth team
it'll
in 4 years.
yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, I mean, but you know what? He's gonna stick somewhere. I mean, I have confidence that he'll stick
Easy.
somewhere as long as they value him and make sure that he knows he's valued. He'll be fine. But as far as Eason going to Houston, he's gonna have a nice route. He's gonna be playing behind a couple of young guys, so he's gonna get to stretch his legs, and we'll see what happens with him in a couple of years. But he's definitely gonna get minutes. Definitely gonna get minutes.
What,
I'm guaranteeing that he'll get minutes.
who's the what is the best fit for these rookies that come in the game? What is the best fit?
As far as team
Who yeah, the
or
best fit? Who got drafted to the right slot? Did Paulo is he in a great situation because he's number one? He's gonna have the ball a lot. I don't. Is Chet in a great spot because now he's not going to be expected to do everything because the ball's not going to be in his hands per se. He's going to have Poku and Shea, and they got some other
Mhm.
guys that Chet can play around. Or is
Right.
it Jabari Smith going to Houston? Quietly, quiet as kept. I was watching Houston, and I watched a few games of Houston, and that's why I say comfortably that Tari stood out the most for me. But there was times on the court where I didn't know Jabari Smith was out there, and that
Yeah,
was
I know.
potentially the number one
Yeah.
pick. There was times that he didn't have no impact. His impact was very minimal, and I don't know was that summer
That
league
happens
because he's not playing
sometimes.
with the greater
Yeah.
talent. Was
No,
it
that happens sometimes. No, because just going off of Easton's example, because he played like he was above the talent that he was there. Like everything he
exactly?
did was deliberate and it
Yeah,
was confidence. And I mean, his footwork wasn't perfect, but it was aggressive, right? So that's the
yep.
difference. Some even the top players they kind of get lost sometimes, depending on who's on the squad or what the coach wants them to focus on, different things like that. I'm gonna surprise you with who I think landed in the best position. Like Paulo in Orlando is going to be great for them because they got a bunch of young talent. I think what was Jonathan Isaacs. I think he's going to play this year. Hopefully, that'd be good if he does play alongside that guy.
With
But um, Beauchamp,
Doug's
Marjon Beauchamp, he went to the Milwaukee
Milwaukee.
Bucks. He is in one of the best spots you can be in. They were just in the championship. They have a bunch of players that are hard nosed, 3-and-D guys, offense and defensive players. He's going to learn how to play defense no matter. I mean, I didn't really get to see him play defense. I mean, he bounced a lot of different places, and shout out to his pops. Right, his pops used to be a monster back in the day. He was our era, and he was a monster in the post. But yeah, Bochamp's going to be able to learn from Giannis and
Yeah.
Holiday and Middleton and all these other
But
guys
he
in
may mess
between,
around
and
and get
plus
some
their
minutes.
coach.
He may mess around and actually get some minutes on that team.
Well, they got what's his name's gone, right? So DiVincenzo, right? So he's not
Yeah.
there anymore. So, but they still have they still picked up the guy that came from Portland, the white guy with the 40-inch vertical. He's still gonna have a bunch of minutes, but he may get in and play depending on how
No,
he develops.
I think he has a chance to get some minutes in there because we saw it in the playoffs that without Middleton, they needed an
Mhm.
additional scorer, and I don't think they
Right,
put time enough. The benefit of what the Warriors did last season was they played their young guys early in the season,
that's true.
and they took
That's
some
true.
L's. They took some L's. They were willing to take some L's. So sometimes the
Yeah,
young guys actually
yeah,
stood up and played Peyton and Poole and won them some games,
hmm
but that gave them some good
yeah,
experience. So by the time playoff came, those
exactly.
guys had already
Right,
played some games. If the
100%.
I say that to say the Milwaukee Bucks need to prepare. I personally was not I know Middleton was 40, what is it, 50, 40, 90 a couple of years ago.
Yep, yep.
He got hurt, so I didn't see. I thought Middleton benefit that he played with Giannis that allowed him to have that type of season. But we saw
Well,
last year in the playoffs that they needed those extra points. They needed that
exactly.
extra 15 to 18 points. And if they play some of these young guys, allow them to get comfortable, because a lot of people, Giannis is going to get triple teamed in a lot of situations. That
Mhm.
allows these young guys to produce and play. Getting rid of
Exactly.
DiVincenzo hurts because he was a young guy that got used to playing with Giannis. Allowing
Mhm.
one of these guys to step up and play, and that's why I say they're going to be minutes because there's some points on the board for Milwaukee,
Yep.
and it depends on who picks them up. Is Middleton coming back 100%? Who knows? We'll see how that plays out. Let's
Mhm.
speed through some of these. Let's speed through some of these topics.
Sure.
Who has the biggest impact? What's the rookie with the biggest impact this season?
Well, I want to say Paulo, just because I saw him play in the summer league and he looked really good. He looked really good in the summer league. And on that passing,
What's your comp for
shooting.
Paulo? Is your comp LJ at UNLV?
No,
Is that
no.
your
Oh,
comp?
come on. That's too much. That's too much. LJ was. There was. I mean, we still don't. We haven't come up with a player that was like LJ coming out of college. Like he was a
Okay.
monster.
Well, I mean, he was a grown man coming. That was a little too much. That was a little too much. I'm guessing. So, okay, is it LJ after the back injury? Coming his after Grandma Mom. And I say
Okay.
and I say that because I'm thinking as I remember, Grandma Mom was a monster before the back injury. The back injury
Yeah,
put him on the
yeah.
ground. He was under the
Right,
rim with the back
right.
injury. Is Paulo?
He's
Which one
probably
is
there.
Paulo?
He's
He
probably
the
right there. I give him
okay,
that. I give him
okay,
that. Until we can find out how he plays when he is on the opponent's blackboard. When you get
right,
your name
okay,
put on the
okay,
blackboard and you're the
okay.
focus, that's when we're
Okay,
gonna find out.
when we
Where
start
he is.
targeting you, you'll find out.
You already know. Yeah.
No, that's interesting because there's nobody to target him. He's going to be the guy that gets targeted in Orlando. There's nobody to take the
No,
pressure off
no,
him.
they got
Who,
Jonathan
Seth?
Isaacs and they have
Cole,
Greg Anthony's
Cole,
son. Yeah,
Cole,
Cole's gonna be
Cole, and
good.
Suggs. And
They
they're
have
not
another.
taking the
Yeah,
pressure.
Suggs is gonna be.
They're not taking
Suggs
the
is a
pressure.
gunner.
But,
Suggs is a gunner. That dude's
but they're
going
not.
gun, gun,
But
gun,
then he's
gun.
not taking the pressure off Apollo. He's not taking the pressure off him. That's
No,
all I'm saying.
well, if he's shooting the ball, he's gonna take the ball out of Paulo's hand. So there's no pressure to be had.
So
I don't
who
think
we
you can't even put them on this in the same lineup together for that much longer because Suggs is gonna have the ball all the time.
and that's what I'm interested to see how that works.
Hmm.
Some of the young rookies that we hadn't talked about. Who's going to be the best of this bunch that I'm gonna mention? Jaden Ivory, Keegan Murray, Matherin, who the kid out of Arizona. I like Matherin the best out of this next bunch.
Hmm.
Keegan Murray impressed me in the summer league. Jaden Ivy, they got lucky because Keegan Murray was taken by the Sacramento Kings. They didn't have to really make a decision. The best player fell
Mhm.
to him. However,
Exactly.
I would have taken Mathurin in that spot. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that I'm not sure that Cade Cunningham and Ivy is the best duel. I think Mathurin and Cunningham would have been a better duel. What's your thoughts? Who's
I
the best
think
out of the second?
Ivy will be better. He didn't have the best summer league. I'm not going to hold that against
Well,
him just
yeah, he got
because.
hurt after the second game. So
Right. Yeah. So he didn't. I mean, there was some things going on with him. I think he's going to be better. He's. I mean, Matherin definitely right. I mean, he's definitely going to be somebody to watch. I think Ivory. I think Ivory's going to be. You will wait to see how they play him, and that's that. All
yeah,
this stuff is
that's
kind of
true.
speculative because
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
know
that's
how
true.
the
That's
teams are
true.
going to play him,
That's true.
right?
That's true. That's
But
true. That's true.
yeah, he has some good upside though. I
But
liked him too.
I think Mathurin. I personally would have liked the backcourt of Mathurin and Cunningham over
Mm,
Ivy and Cunningham. I personally would have
yeah,
liked Mathurin on the wing
that would have
to
been cool.
shoot. Matherin's more of a 3 and D guy. He can shoot deep from three, while Cunningham continuing to go into the hole.
Right.
Cunningham and Ivy, they're both ball dominant guys. I don't know how
Yep.
that works. We're looking at ISO. We're looking at ISO players just like we saw in Boston. I
Yep.
think that it's redundancy there. Not that I don't
Mm.
like Ivy. I think it's redundant. Couple real quickly. What's your thoughts on this take foul rule change? Now, if you with the take foul, the guys on the fake break, similar to the what is it the what is it when the guys on a fast break and then they
Oh,
get fouled?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
forget the
Oh,
exact name.
John, a blank on this. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
the take foul, the guys on a fast break, they just can't touch them and get the foul. Now
it's
it's going to be
almost the
one.
equivalent. Yeah, it's almost the equivalent of
It is
that.
the equivalent,
Yeah, the breakaway,
but
breakaway. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the equivalent, right? There, people, I mean, I mean, there's so many commentators that complain about it because more. Oh, it slows down the pace of the game and all that
I think it
stuff.
ruins the momentum. I think it ruins the momentum of the game, especially at a home game. The home team gets a breakaway, and now they get the
Mhm.
dunk to get the fans in the game, and the
Well, it's
guys just
excitement for the fans, right?
and they got,
Yeah, it's
but the guy,
totally for the fans.
it's that momentum, and then it's kind of strategic in a way on the defensive side of the ball. You
Yeah,
don't
of
want to.
course.
They're on a 4 point run, and then they get the fast break. This is going to
Right,
be a 6 point run with the dunk, and now the crowd's
right.
into it. You really don't want that to happen either.
Man,
So it's kind
Ginobili
of a
used to do that all the time, man, and they complain about it then too. Ginobili did it all the time, like all the time. Like
last
it's
one on
mostly the
the
European guys that did it a lot. Chris Paul did it a lot too back in the day.
last one on the NBA topics. Preseason game in Seattle. Clippers played the Timberwolves, or excuse me, Clippers played the Trailblazers. October 3rd. What's your thoughts on
Yeah,
the preseason game back in Seattle?
it's gonna be great. I mean, it's too bad that they can't have it in the baseball stadium where you can fit a bunch of people in there, right? It's just not
Yeah.
it's not gonna be enough people. I mean,
Well,
even if you play two games.
baseball stadium and outdoors in Seattle in
Oh
October.
yeah,
Come on.
like it hasn't been done before. It's been like not in
Yeah,
October, but it's been
yeah,
this
exactly. That's what I'm
basketball's
saying.
been played outside before. You act
No,
like
no,
it has.
not
They can
not in
close the
Seattle.
dome. They can close the dome. They can
Oh,
close
that's
it.
true. My
Yeah, they can
bad, bro.
close
My bad.
that,
I didn't
right?
think about that. Ooh,
That
that
would
would
be
be pretty
fire.
something. That would be
50,000
something.
people watching the preseason game. There's
Bro,
gonna be there would
listen,
be at least 40 or
think of
50,000 people there.
those guys would be freezing if they put on. They'd be coming to the court, coming to the sidelines and carcass. Um, all right, man. We're gonna keep this going, Clint. We're gonna burn through this next segment, but
Sure.
let's jump into this NFL topics, man. Right, jump right into our NFL topics. Baker gets traded to the Panthers for a fifth round pick. Seattle drags their feet again. It looks like they're going with Drew Lock and Geno Smith.
Yep.
They're gonna be like the Renton Rangers. The Seahawks gonna be looking like the Renton Rangers, man.
No,
What's your thoughts on
I'll be
what's your
honest
thoughts on
with
the
you.
Rangers?
I was joking with some of my 12 man fans, and I was telling them like I may have to go get me a nice little Denver Broncos jersey for next year, just to
Oh,
have that
bro,
on
look
the
at you.
side
Oh,
because
bro.
man, we are dude. I mean, Geno Smith he is the best quarterback for about 2.5 to 3 quarters that you'll find.
Oh,
Like
he
I
said
mean, I
three.
mean,
He's
I
the
pulled
for
for
him.
him, dude. Like even last season, he had a couple games where he had chances to pull games out, and he
Yeah,
just found a way not to get
not
it
to.
done, right? And but that's his
They could-
that's his that been most of his career is not anything
yeah,
that we
okay.
hadn't seen before,
You know
right?
this.
So
I know this. You know this. I know this. What the hell is Pete Carroll doing? John Snyder. What the hell are they doing?
well, I want to blame John Snyder more than Pete Carroll because we all know Pete Carroll's a defensive guy, right? That
Okay.
he's strictly defense, and
What
I,
he can't identify a good quarterback? Is it he can't identify a good
yeah,
quarterback? What's the deal?
he never
What does
really
he?
had to identify a real good quarterback, right? I mean, he recruited out of USC and just got quarterback after quarterback anyway. So I mean, what
Yeah,
and even though I
so
mean
you
to
know,
be let's be honest with you, those
right?
quarterbacks weren't that they weren't superstars when they hit the NFL. So let's
Matt Liner was the best one he had on the squad, and what did that
right,
say? Woo! Yeah,
exactly,
that's a
right.
great point, Clint. That's a great point. He never had to identify a
No,
great
he never
quarterback
had to
candidate.
do it, right? I mean, yeah, Reggie Bush and all these other guys,
And
these
the third round
standout wide
quarterback falls,
receivers, and
and the third round
yeah,
quarterback falls in his lap. Oh my goodness, Clint, that is an
right,
outstanding point. That's an outstanding
exactly.
point right there.
No,
Who
I
has
mean
more?
it's always been like that.
That's an outstanding point. I didn't really think about it. Who has the more pressure on them going into this season? Is it Russell Wilson in Denver? Is it Matt Ryan now with the Colts? Is it Derek Carr with the Raiders? Is it Justin Herbert in with the Chargers? Is it Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville? Is it Tua
Mm.
Tagovailoa in Miami?
Oh, those are
Zach
big.
Wilson,
Those are a
Zach
lot.
Wilson, Zach Wilson in New York. A
Damn,
lot of these teams, a lot of these
dude,
teams legitimately have
that's a
pressure on them.
lot. Of,
Who has the
that's a
most
lot
pressure?
of cats. You know who I think? Just to be honest with you, because I know Tua. Tua, they love him down there, so I don't think they're going to put too much pressure on him. They need to make
You
sure
don't
that
think
their
there's pressure?
offensive
You
line.
don't think there's
I
pressure on
know.
Tua?
I said too much pressure. I know there's pressure on him, but it's not like we're gonna replace you with somebody type
Man,
of pressure.
they
You know
signed.
who's really under pressure
No, man, I
is
disagree
Derek
with you.
Carr.
I
Derek
can't.
Carr is
Really,
under
I disagree
pressure.
with you. I disagree with you there. I disagree.
What do you
I
mean?
disagree 100%. I disagree
How?
100%. Derek Carr, what they went through last season, their coach gets
Mhm.
fired last season,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
For him to keep that team together and they still make the playoffs, their head coach gets fired, and we know the stature that the head coach carried not only with that team but with the NBA. For them,
Yeah.
Derek Carr to do his that leadership job that Derek Carr did last year was similar to LeBron in the bubble. That was
Now
similar to LeBron in the bubble.
yeah, Derek Carr has
That was
great
similar.
leadership. I will not deny that at all. I'm going to
So I
tell you
don't think
this
there's
though.
zero pressure with them.
The second
There's
part
not
of the
zero
second
pressure
part of
with
the no, the second part of the Raiders season was defense too. Those cats they
them.
got key stops when
Listen,
they needed to get key stops.
hey, hey, they play good. They play good team football. But after your head
Right.
coach, after your what your number one wide receiver from the previous year gets
Yeah.
into at the manslaughter accident, Derek
Yeah.
Carr showed leadership in that
Yeah,
situation.
that was
Three
crazy.
weeks later,
That was crazy.
3 weeks later, 3 weeks later, your head coach, is embroiled in this controversy, and
Mhm.
Derek Carr steps up and then continues the leadership on it
Yeah.
again. Though they didn't win the championship, that leadership job that Derek Carr did last year was similar to what LeBron did with the Lakers to win that the bubble championship.
His focus was
Derek
great.
Carr's, un,
I'll give him that. His
Derek Carr's
focus was
under
great.
zero pressure. He's under zero
But
pressure
oh,
because
I
of
don't
what he
know
did
about
last year.
zero pressure though.
Tua,
I don't know
Tua
about zero
Tagovailoa.
pressure.
Tua Tagovailoa. When you go out and you give 5 number one picks and you and you re-sign this number one wide receiver, the most the most
Yeah.
electric wide receiver in the game of football. Now he's
Yeah.
on your team.
Right.
If you that doesn't boost up the pressure, I don't know what does.
I
Does
think
he
it
have the
makes it
most?
easier for him to succeed. You know why?
It
Because
does
what
make
they'll
it easier.
probably end up doing with, especially with Tyreek, they already got speed. Dude, they got those the wide receivers they have right now are bananas. Just think about Tyreek just taking like two or taking these 2 or 3 step drops and just throwing wide receiver bubble screens to Tyreek and letting him run for like 10 or 15 or these
Yeah.
quick
I
slants
hate
over
the
the middle and
I
letting
like
them
the slant
run,
over the middle. I
dude.
hate the bubble screen. I hate the bubble screen. I hate the jet
You don't like the
screen.
bubble
I hate.
screen?
I
Oh,
don't. I hate them both. I hate them
those
both.
are great.
But we're about to see. He's about to catch 50 bubble screens this season. He's going to
Yeah.
catch 50 of them. He is. I hate it. I hate it because you're throwing them. You're
Hey,
counting on the bubble screen. You're counting on the defender to miss. That's what you're counting on the defender to miss.
right.
And if I was a defender, if you're counting on me to fail as a defender, that's exactly what I'm. That's exactly what I'm banging you in the head. So I don't like it for that reason. You're not setting it up where to use the speed of the guy. You're just counting on the defender to miss. And in today's NBA, defenders don't tackle. It's a fair play. It's just you're counting on somebody to miss. That's why I don't like it. But we got Tyreek Hill, most explosive guy in the league. Let's see what happens. I think Tua's under the most pressure. Herbert's under a lot of pressure too, because now we're going to the season where Burrow, who's drafted a few picks ahead of him, just went to the Super Bowl. Tua now has explosive. Herbert now, although he's put up a lot of numbers, his team hasn't won. What does he do? What can he do? That's what we're going to see.
That's defense, though. He can do it. That's the defense messing him up.
That's a fair point. That's another good point. But Clint, that's the two great points Clint has made today. That's also actually a great point, because now the defense needs to step up, but at the same time, Herbert needs to, do a little bit more, so his defense doesn't have to work so hard.
But how much more can he do, though? He got the weapons. I mean, he's putting points on the board. I mean, I don't know how much more he can do.
But now
he had a few games where he should have been able to close out. Like he had a few fourth quarter drives where he should have been able to close a few games out, and they may have had a better record and gotten in, into the playoffs, right?
Now the defense has Khalil Mack on the other side of Joey Bosa, and then you had J.C. Jackson.
There you go.
Defense cover corner in the NFL. So now they're already more affordable. So we're to your point. They addressed the offensive line last season. They addressed the defenses this season. This should get them up over the hill. We'll see how this thing plays out.
But they're in the AFC West, though.
Ooh, AFC West is tough. It's tough. But I got them. I personally have them behind KC. I'm not ready to put them ahead of Kansas City, although they beat them in the last, 2 of the last 4 times they played. So they split with KC. I'm not ready to put them ahead of Kansas City. And I have them comfortably ahead of the Broncos and the Raiders.
No!
Comfortably.
Denver's going to shock you. Denver's going to shock you this year.
I don't think they're better. I don't think they're better than Chargers or Chiefs. Russell does. They're better. I grant it. I love Russell. They're better. I don't think they're better than the Chargers or Chiefs, in my opinion.
We're gonna see.
We'll see how to play out. And give me your thoughts on this Deshaun Watson saga. We haven't talked in a long time since he was shipping in masseuses from all around the United States. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson saga? He signed. He said he wasn't gonna cash him out. He cashed him out recently. He settled with him. Is he gone for? Do you think he's gone for 6 months or 6 games, 8 games? What's your thought? Has he pissed away his career? What's your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson saga?
No, his career is not. It's weird. I mean, we've been through the Michael Vick situation, right? Where redemption and how long you have to apologize and get on your knees and show contrition and and it's still not enough, right? His career is not over. He's a young guy. I do agree with an 8-game suspension just because of the NFL conduct, right? You're not admitting guilt, but of course, I mean, there's too many people. There's too many cases to let that slide. You can't let that slide. But if they try to suspend him for the year, then I do agree with him suing to get that reduced. Because I think half the season would be enough.
I think the appeal. I'm looking at 6 to 8 games. He probably appeal it down to 6. We'll see if that does. It is just an icky situation. Deshaun Watson. I mean, he has to pay a stupid tax for going online to find the masseuses, dude. You're in the NFL. You're an NFL ball player.
Dude,
you can go to
that's another story. That's another story altogether, Cam. I'm telling you, There's a reason why certain people do the things that they do, and it just bear with me real quick. I just want to bring up a quick point. The strong safety from the Green Bay Packers. You remember him?
Oh, Sharper. Sharper went down to New Orleans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So people have different. They have different demons that they have. Right. I mean, I you know what? I believe at least most of the women, the majority of women, I totally believe it. Because everything was the same. Every situation was almost identical.
So Clint, let me ask you this question. I don't know how much you've heard of. I don't know how much you researched the scenario. Asking for or insinuating or hinting around happy endings at a massage parlor, is that worth getting? Is that deserving of an 8 game suspension?
If it crosses over more than that, right? You can basically be rude and try to get coerce somebody into doing it. But if you're basically getting them into a situation where they can't leave the room, where you're disrobing yourself and you're moving your body to make sure that they do certain they touch you in certain places, that's over the line. That part of it is over the line, right?
Okay.
there's a bunch of there's a bunch of cats. There's the cat calling thing.
Yeah.
That that's a what he was doing was a little bit that was over the line. It was it was
Okay.
over the
All
line.
right. Yeah, all right, man. Let's get off that topic, man. Let's speed to the last segment here, Clinton. Thank you.
Sure.
We appreciate you for joining the show, man. We got a friend of the show, longtime friend of the show, Mr. Clint Lomax. Again, we cover a lot of NBA topics, man. You guys, the podcast is available for you guys at HB Media TV, and you can find it on Voice. That's on YouTube, or you can find it on Voice of the Fans on YouTube as well. Clint, we really appreciate you tuning in, man. So we're gonna speed through this last segment, and let you get out of here. But as each and every week we do our This Week in History, Clint. So we're gonna drive a little historical knowledge for you. Back on July 21, 1886, the National Association of Colored Women was founded by Mary Church Terrell in Washington, D.C. Back in 1896, that was. A few years prior to that, 1861, President Lincoln read the first draft of the Emancipation Proclamation to the cabinet, which is kind of it's funny because it was signed in 1876, but it was
Mhm.
still 20 years later that
Right.
we were
Exactly.
actually it
Yeah.
was free. We knew we were
Yeah.
free back in Texas, so that's kind of odd. But
Hmm.
again,
Hmm.
just historical reference for the people, Clint. Um, the the first warship named after a black person was the SS Leonard Roy Harmon, which launched in Quincy, Massachusetts. This is 1943,
Hmm.
July 25th. So that's pretty
Okay.
cool. 1947, July 20th. The NFL actually ruled that a team could not sign a player who had college eligibility remaining. So in 1947, they said if you could not sign a team, or a player could not sign with the NFL team if they had college eligibility remaining. So that
Hmm.
started this 2.5 year rule.
There you
Um,
go.
Hank Aaron, 720, 1976. Hank Aaron hit his 755th home run
Hmm.
um, off the Angels pitcher. Mike Shanahan on this day, 2010. Mike Shanahan was officially introduced as the head coach of the then Washington Redskins. So take it
Hmm.
back in history. Clint, you're a
Right.
perfect man to answer this question with the basketball knowledge that you have, the knowledge of the country, the what do you call it, by countrymen that you are. Um,
Yeah.
Brittany,
International.
internet. Oh, there you go. A better word for it. International man that you are. Brittany Griner getting caught in Russia. What's your thoughts on her admitting guilt in sentencing that we're waiting on? What's your thoughts on Brittany Griner being stuck up in Russia?
Well, unless it's an ultra conspiracy, she is guilty. She got caught with the paraphernalia in her bag, even though it was doctored issued maybe a year before that. She's been playing in Russia for 7 years. The one thing I've heard it on both sides, but the one thing you always have to recognize is foreign law. She had to know Russian law. My opinion is I think that she didn't even think about it. She forgot that it was even in her stuff. That's what I
Legislation.
think, because I've
Yeah,
had people do that before, where they've left their paraphernalia in somebody's car and they
or they
totally
lost.
forgot it was there, and they got pulled over and the cops gave them a warning for finding it, but they were honest with it, and then they
Yeah,
basically. But this is now more political now. It's not even about her pleading guilty. It's about who is the
okay.
U.S. is going to trade for her as a political prisoner right now. So unfortunately,
Yeah, so it's an unfortunate situation. She had to be at some point. She knew it was there, or some point she put it in there, more than likely.
right?
And so,
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be responsible for, your actions,
can't slip up with that, especially
especially
outside of the United States. Yeah,
especially outside the country. Like this is
exactly.
this you got to know better, sweetheart.
Ask
Um,
Jello Ball about that.
right. And that's a fresh example that everybody should know about, right? That's a fresh
Hmm.
example.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about Locked Up Abroad, where it's a TV show from 15 years ago. That was an example, that a living example from 5 years ago. Come on. Um,
Exactly.
what is your thoughts on UCLA and USC packing up and getting out of the Pac-12 and going to the Big Ten? What's your thoughts on that?
Money, big time money. That's what that's all about, and more exposure
But
too.
but, but they were the big time money breadwinners in the Pac-12. Like,
Well,
if they felt desperate enough to leave the Pac-12, if there is that much money, they're like that's similar to KD going to join the Warriors.
well,
That's
guess
similar to
what?
KD.
The Pac-12 had a lot of money. The Big 12 has way more money and way
Yeah,
more exposure. That's the only reason they're going, and they actually got the terms. Most likely, they got terms that they wanted as
that's
far as
crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
know
crazy
it
that
is what it.
UCLA and USC says packs it in and says we can't
Yeah,
compete with the Midwest, and we they say we can't compete with the Midwest, and that we're going to go join these guys. I think that's bananas. I think
more
that's
money.
bananas. I'm surprised.
It's more money. It's a lot more money. I guarantee you that.
Listen,
It's
I
a
can't
lot more
argue with
money.
you. But now,
Yeah.
what does that say? What happens to UW and Washington State? What happens to Oregon or Oregon State? Do they join the Big Sky, or do they end up in the Big Sky
No,
conference?
they finally get to battle it out and have a chance for titles.
Wow. Okay.
Basically it.
Okay.
They ain't going anywhere. They gonna get
Okay.
paid now. There's
They
less
get a
there's
chance.
less teams to split the pot with.
So they get a chance to win.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
all right, man. Last question for you. I mean, I can tell I was at the home run derby. I spent this was my first Major League Baseball weekend. Again, the rookies game on Saturday, the futures game they call it, the high school home run derby on Saturday night. On Monday was the official home run derby. I got a chance to interview some of the players, so check out some of my interviews on Voice of the Fans at YouTube. We talked to some of the players, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge. Talked to your guy Julio Rodriguez. Some of the
Nice.
players just about what baseball is like for them, what the lessons they learned from baseball. So check it out. What was
Definitely
your?
check
Did you
that.
watch the All Star game? Did you watch the All Star game? Did you watch any of the weekend? Did you watch the home run derby? Any of that stuff intrigue you at all?
I'll be quick, my phone's about to die. But yeah, I watched the All Star game and the home run derby. Home run derby was fantastic. It was
Did has
absolutely fantastic. It was great. Oh,
has
so
a
it was
home
so the energy, the electricity of it. It was great. I like the new
has
format.
has a home run derby eclipsed the dunk contest?
Yes.
Wow, that was a tough question. I think a lot.
Yes.
I was most interested to see it. I love the pageantry of the MLB All Star Game. You know, see the because you don't before in years past the National League never played the American League, so you didn't see these
Right.
guys on the same field. That
Exactly.
was before, so that's why that was so intriguing. But now
Hmm.
the fact that they see him play all the time is not as intriguing, more not as much as an event. But I think it's a pageantry. Pageantry is still there. Let the people know
Hmm.
where they can find you, Clint, one more time before we let you go.
MJ Lover 23 on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also find me at Voice of the Fans on Facebook.
And he will argue to the death that he's not an MJ fan, but he just gave you a name, fans.
I am
I'm
MJ. Jordan's the goat.
there. Oh, I got it. I got that quote there. I can post it. I
Good.
can post it on you.
I've said
I'm
that.
gonna leave the
I've
fans.
said that forever.
I'm gonna leave the fans with this quote. I'm gonna leave the fans with this quote. I got this quote last week from Chauncey Billups at the summer league. And I was asking him about you can't motivate individuals. That's exactly what I told him. How do you, as a head coach in the NBA, you can't motivate an individual, but how do you inspire them and encourage them? This is the quote that he gave me. Things that you take for granted get taken. So if you take it for granted, this opportunity that you have in front of you, and you think just because you're in the NBA, you think just because you have your uniform on, you take that for granted, that uniform can get taken at any moment. I love that
Exactly.
quote. I love
Exactly.
that quote that he gave me. It was fresh, right from the mouth of Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. Things that get taken for granted get taken. So don't
Exactly.
take things for granted, folks. Whatever you're doing in life, don't take it for granted. The people around you, the family that you have, your friends that's around you, don't take that for granted. You don't know what you'll do if you're missing, fans. But Clint, I want to thank you for your time, big guy. Thank you for chiming in the show. We appreciate you tuning in. And again, fans, thank you. Clint, have a good one. Holla back.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you later.